seen things you people wouldn't believe.
What's up, guys? This is Brian at WhisperStatus74. Welcome to the community. Welcome to the channel. If this is the first time you're seeing me, please consider liking and subscribing. We are real tech for real people. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is a very exciting video for me personally. It's an important video for the channel and for our small community. This is the very first time that a company has selected us to review or sample a product for them. It is very special and exciting that this has happened, and it's something that many of us on this platform always wish would happen, and it has happened. I want to say thank you to Vivify for selecting me to sample their product for this video today, but I also want to say thank you to the community of this channel, as I think when manufacturers select channels to check out their products, they do look at the community, and I'm very thankful to have such a positive and knowledgeable community. As I mentioned before, the company's name is Vivify. This is the Arquus W73. It is an RGB fiber optic HDMI cable. And it is really marketed towards gaming, but our usage for it will be gaming and home theater, as many of us in this community are into bias lighting on our displays. And you'll be seeing different pictures of bias lighting through this video to show you an example of how I think this cable is going to complement that. I am familiar with the cable before they even sent it to me, which is why I was so excited about it. But what I am mostly not concerned about, but excited about, is the build quality of fiber optic. It's not so much copper versus fiber optic, speeds, clarity, loading times, anything like that. I don't really believe much in the way of cables in regards to making the image look better. That's just me. I do use several different kinds of cables. I'll show you in a minute, but I do want to unbox this cable here and show you a quick unboxing. But I am excited for the usage of it more to complement bias lighting than hiding it in a PC setup to complement an RGB scan. The cable they sent me is 9 feet long, 2.7 meters. There is also a 15-foot cable. This one right now is $99 on Amazon. The 15-foot one, I'll put the price there, and I'll put all the links below in their marketplace so you can check them out. We're gonna do a quick unboxing of the product. Again, it's a fairly large box for a cable. It is 9 feet. And again, thank you very much to Vivify for sending it to a little slip cover on there. Again, it has 7 colors. It also has a mode where it cycles through the colors, and has a magnet here, opens up, and there is the cable there. A really nice box for that. And there is a note in here. Hello, Brian. As one of the very first to partake in aid, we would like to send you our warmest gratitude. Hope you enjoy and like our product as much as we do. Looking forward to build upon the future. Best regards, Vivify CEO Sean. Thank you so much, Sean. That is very, very cool. So here is, frame that. Thank you, Sean. So again, here is the cable. And we will... Now I also have, before I start this, they also sent me, which we'll do a separate video on, is the W10. It is their USB Type A to Type C cable. This is not RGB in the sense where you can change the colors, but you can pick the colors. I'll show that on the screen as well. This one is red. They also sent me a blue one, which you can use to charge. You know, it also has bandwidth. It's 10 gigabytes, USB 3.2 Gen 2. It is a fast charge. It does charge very quickly, and I'm using it currently. Let me show you that real quick. I'm using it currently on my Oculus Quest behind me, which you can see right here. And here is, oh, that's just the little Velcro strap. You see, here is the charging cable here. I have it hooked up to my Oculus. It does charge extremely quick. And there is that lightsaber red that you can see in the dark. I know it's not very dark in here right now. And right now it's charging my Oculus Quest. But again, what we're talking about, even before I unbox that cable, is it stays lit up. Turn the light off. You can actually see that lightsaber red on the product, which is actually really cool. But judging by the build quality of this charging cable is the flexibility of the cable. Now you can't choose the lighting in terms of have them switching modes, but you can pick the color as I mentioned before. But it's the flexibility of the cable that I really like. This does charge very quickly. As I mentioned, it is charging the Oculus Quest right now. And I do have a question in regards if I could use that as an Oculus Link. I am not 100% sure on that. It's definitely not long enough for that, but it does have 10 gigabytes of transfer speed. Let's go put the lights back on. Lights are on. We do have it unboxed. Here it is. It does have its for power. It is, again, an 18 gigabytes per second ACESO 2.0 B cable. Here is the cable itself. We're going to unwrap it here. And again, our strengths for this cable and my thoughts for this cable are really more about flexibility. Now, I know that a lot of it's about the RGB, that's what it's marketed as, but for my usage, it's really going to be about flexibility. As we fully unboxed, lights are on. Again, it is a 9-foot cable. And what I want to focus on in this video, even though the RGB is the biggest aspect of it too, biggest selling point I should say, is you have your power. You have where it'll connect to the back of your display or soundbar or cable box, is the flexibility of the cable. So again, going into fiber optic cables, speaker wire, things of that nature, connection, speeds, fiber versus cable. What interests me the most is flexibility, is being able to move it around. Being somebody who reviews TVs, who has HDMI cables everywhere, it's amazing how much they fail. So I'll show you a couple cables that I tend to use that are kind of mid-tier. They are heavy, they are braided, they need to be heavy in regards to they won't fail. Where you've had other cables that are more expensive, that are more flexible, but they do tend to cut out, they do tend to fail. And it gets a little bit expensive to buy a bunch of cables, so you tend to buy cheaper ones. Now the challenge with cables like this, when you're comparing displays or TVs or your setup, it sounds ridiculous, but depending on what side the HDMI cables are on, HDMI is on this side. Bending these things, moving around, on my PC, these cables actually get pulled out. Just from the weight itself of the cable will actually pull it out. Where this cable, how light it is, the flexibility, the ability to bend it, move it around, is actually really cool. It is very flat. There's the RGB there, but it's flat, flexible, great build quality. We're going to see how it actually fits into the back of the monitor. Right now, this is a display behind me, and we're going to see how it looks. But my biggest usage for it, whether it's something they intended as a company or not, is bias lighting. It isn't to have this hiding behind a PC or connected to a PC in that regard. What I want to do is complement bias lighting and have it kind of connected to a device where you can actually see it on display. But again, whether they intended it for it or not, they do sell other fiber optic cables in their company. I like the RGB aspect, but most importantly to me is the build quality of the fiber optic. Let's hook it up and see what it looks like. So now with the lights off, you can actually see the cable. That is the charging cable, which is charging the Oculus, which is just one color. And you can actually see the 9-foot RGB cable there and how vibrant it is. And we're not even in a completely dark room yet, but I love the look of it. More importantly, like I mentioned before, is the quality of the fiber optic cable. Just in terms of flexibility, I'm going to turn the lights back on and actually show you what it looks like behind the display. Now these cables are definitely expensive. This is a 9-foot cable, but the build quality of it, again, it's fiber optic. For me, it's not about the speed or claim speed versus copper. It is the build quality of it. The RGB to me is just a bonus. When I turn the lights back on, you can actually see the connector and the touch sensitivity of changing the color. It's actually very cool. And though, again, it is expensive for an HDMI cable, keep in mind how expensive HDMI cables were, and they offer nothing but connectivity. This has the RGB, it has the controls to it, but really, how cool does that look? And that's not even the way it's going to be set up downstairs with regular bias lighting behind it to complement it. Now here we are behind the panel. You can see the charger there, charging the headset. And you can see where it's hooked up to the HDMI. And it has its USB power there. The cable, again, is flat, very flexible. It is still pretty light, and it is very thin from the side. It's a very cool product. But again, it's expensive. But when you look at the technology that's in it in terms of how you change the color of it, is very cool. So again, light is off. Got Xbox green. Very vibrant, also glowing at the back of the display. But it's the one behind the display that actually changes the color. Very vibrant. And to shut it off, you just hold it down. Awesome. Now again, not being a huge RGB person, and there is the charger, in terms of PC builds, I find the value more in its durability, its flexibility, and its home theater use. Awesome. But to think, again, the build quality here is very cool. Now as I unplug it from the PlayStation, and you know, the design that's into the actual cable. You can also have it cycle through the different colors. Very similar to bias lighting. But to be as repetitive as possible, for me, it's more about the flexibility of this cable versus the lack of flexibility from other cables that are out there. And how durable the cable feels, even being fiber optic. The casing is very durable, feels very high quality. And like I mentioned before, the actual connectors themselves are very sleek. They just look very cool. So choosing the colors. Awesome. Love it. Now here, my usage for the product, again, as it was intended, would be as a gaming fiber optic cable. The way I would be using it, again, is in tandem with bias lighting, which you can see here on this 75-inch display. As we move around, you can see the cable underneath here, which we will take off the tripod and show you. That is how I would utilize it. Hooked up to my PC there, but it would basically enhance that image and go with the bias lighting. Now, without the bias lighting enabled, I do still love how it looks. As we lower the tripod and move it over, that is very cool. And you can wrap it around your stand, your AV stand, your AV rack. But I think it does look very cool. Again, complementing, you know, bias lighting in a sense of making it look like the bias lighting is leaking out of your display. So I like the complement of it. Also, again, without it, it does make it pop more. I'd show you it closer, but the cable management's a little ugly back there right now due to all the moving around. Here's both colors red. And shutting off the bias lighting. You can really see how it pops. You can get as creative as you want. A lot of videos that I saw with it, it kind of got lost. So let's take this off the tripod. And there it is. Connected to the PC. It's wrapped around the stand. Again, you put the bias lighting on, have it kind of complement it. I couldn't get them to sync up as far as their kind of pulse to get them to match color-wise. Now here they are kind of in their pulse mode. Try to get them synced up actually, but they represent different colors at different times. But again, knocking out the bias lighting, which we already have, and there's the cable. The product is very cool. Well, many of you might think it's a novelty. You know, a lot of the RGB fans, things that we have on our PCs are novelties, but they make us happy. For me, again, it's the flexibility. We'll cover that in the breakdown. It's a little bit of a longer video. I apologize for that, but I am excited and I think it is very cool. You know, there it is in action. And again, for us home theater nuts that use bias lighting, it is a cool complement. And you could see where you could get creative with it. You could wrap it around your AV rack. You can do a lot with it. Very cool. All right, guys, wrapping up this video. What do I think of the product overall? Did I enjoy it? I actually enjoyed it very much. I do have a couple of critiques. They are very small, but I did enjoy the product a lot. I did plug in the other charging cable, which is very cool. This is lightsaber blue. Awesome. I do love this product, especially the charging cable, is that compared to other cables, again, the build quality is very premium in comparison to a lot of these adapters, but typically when you charge them, they snap off or they lose connectivity pretty easily. I do enjoy it. The color does stay on. You can choose all the different colors. Now to the actual HDMI cable. I mentioned earlier that having those braided heavy cables where someone like me is plugging them into different TVs, they don't really bend the way I want them to bend. This cable does. And typically with these cables, these braided ones, is you sacrifice flexibility for durability. And then with the ones that are more flexible, they tend to fail. They're still expensive. They start to flash in and out. This cable does solve that, where you do have the flexibility and the durability. So to me, aside from the RGB aspect of it, which is just an added bonus, it is also visual with the RGB, but the flexibility, the build quality is premium of the cable itself. The way it connects, you do have USB power here, but also the touch sensor here is also premium. Again, it's an expensive cable. Cables that are, whether it's the same price or more expensive, don't offer the RGB aspect or the flexibility. Now, cables, this one is 9 feet. Again, flexibility, durability. RGB aspect of it is very cool. Again, working in tandem with bias lighting. I like it complementing bias lighting. But there is my first critique of the product, is I wish there was a remote that came with it where I can actually change the modes myself so I wouldn't have to touch it. However, typically if a PC gamer is using it, it's as simple as reaching around your display and just using the sensor. For me, I'd rather have a remote, a lot like bias lighting. But again, those things are going to bring the price up. Talking about the actual lighting of it is very vibrant. I love the colors. I love the functionality of it. The one critique I would have for that is I wish it was on both sides. You have it on one side, I wish it was on the other. Because no matter how you wrap it around your devices or your AV rack or your PC setup, you're going to eventually have the cable turn over and you're going to have kind of a spot where there is no lighting. If you could do it on both sides, it would be easy to manipulate and move around, but that could be a limitation as well. But it's very cool. I enjoy the product a lot. I had a great time reviewing it. I know the video was very choppy. This is my first manufacturing review. I love the product. I think it's very cool. I would definitely buy it. I would definitely recommend it. The prices are listed below. Thank you so much to Vivify for sending it to me. It was very, very kind of you. Again, my critiques are, I'd like to see a remote to help me control it from farther away. Again, I'm in the minority of using it with a home theater. And give me some lighting on the other side so I can see, it at all times. But otherwise, it is very cool. Highly recommended. Love the product. I can do a full review on it in a video down the road. Right now, I'm just enjoying the product. Again, the cables, USB cables will also be in the description. They are also very cool. Thank you again to Vivify. I know, again, this is a choppy video. Thank you for the community, for you guys always being amazing. And I will see you in the comments. Take care. Vivify Fiber Optic HDMI RGB cable. Take care.